The amplifier slid in nicely like we knew it would, and as you can see, we went with the black screws. You can't even notice they're there. And with the amp in, I've also ran the wires into those holes I was talking about, but they're not going anywhere. So the next step is to get the power wire out, the RCAs into the dash. Fernando's working on the fuse holder underneath the hood. When he's done with that, we'll almost be ready to turn it on. From the front side, the amplifier and all the wiring are now in place. We ended up using that ground point here that we showed you earlier. The wire that came with the kit was the perfect length. When running the wires along here, you don't want to come this way because this is the metal frame rail. There's actually an access here. There's a hump in the carpet where the factory wiring comes up. Try to run your wires with existing wiring. In this case, the wire came around this way underneath the carpet and then loops back up and runs along here up into the firewall. The signal and RCA wires are zip tied up and come into this hole up into the center console where we mounted the bass knob and the factory knockout. Another good place would have been here, but as you can see, it already has 2 switches there. The next step, I need to remove the harness that we made previously. We have to prep the ends for our speed wire. So join me over on the bench. When we installed this originally, we had taken out an existing head deck. That head deck, the way it was installed, is they did the loop trick. So we had to do that as well. What you're looking at here is the 2 speaker plugs. This is the rear speaker, this is the front speaker, and they're connected together. I'm not a fan of this. This is just utter, like, I know there are guys that do it, whatever, you get my idea. The idea is that you can run the front speaker off of the rear speaker. So if you're putting an amp in the back of the car, you connect new wires up to the rear speakers, you run a second set of wires up to the factory wiring. That goes up front, you loop the rear wiring into the front wiring, and then out of the front wiring it goes into the 2 doors. That way you don't have to run those extra 2 wires up front to this point. Wire's wire, so I can understand why somebody would do it. It seems kind of weird. I'm not a fan of it. All I have to do now though is remove this tape, cut these 2 harnesses, and this will be prepped to go into the car for us to connect our speed wire to. The remote turn on wire was already external because of the previous install. The reason why we like to use exterior Tesa tape is it doesn't get as sticky as the interior stuff, and it's way more rigid. You have to cut it with scissors. It will easily peel off of this for us, and that gets us access to our 2 solder points. We can remove this and we're back in business. We can hop into the car. And there it is. There is the fuse holder all connected and into place. What he's done is made this nice display panel here. This is a secondary bolt that will come off if you need to remove this to get to the battery. The other nice thing is too is these unsnap from this holder, so you do not need to remove the wire or any of that. You just can simply remove this piece, change the battery out, put it all back together, snap the fuse in place. Speaker wire, remote turn on are now connected. All the other wiring here is done. The new RCAs are right here. Fernando also reran the Sirius XM wire. If you remember, I don't know if I talked about it, I was tripping over it over here on the side of the car. They had ran it up through this. There was a bunch of random zip ties. He put it into the loom, zip tied it all up to the factory side of the car, and we ran it up here along with the rest of our wiring when we had this apart and got that into the dash. I'm gonna plug my radio in so we can get on to testing polarities, setting up our gains, and doing all that so we can get this thing done and get it out of here. Dash is back together. We're playing some Pink Noise from our Educar Test and Tune app. You can get this on the App Store. The reason why I'm playing the Pink Noise is I just need to check my 4 corners. This is one of the most basic tests you can do, is check your speakers. I got a text message from a buddy of mine the other day, and he was talking about, you know, something sounded weird, and I figured out I had it wrong, and the crossovers were wrong. They were going to the wrong speakers. He's like, yeah, it was the strangest thing ever. Always test. If you're using just a regular front, rear, left, right, you know, do the cross. If you're doing a DSP, turn off each channel. Make sure things are going to where they need to go. Very important. Simple balance and fader. Go to that corner of the car. Make sure you go totally to that corner of the car. If you don't, you could get some bleed through. Center it back up. Go to the passenger side. Go to the front. The speaker's playing. Do the rear. The rear speaker's playing. And even though I know by process elimination this speaker should be playing next, I'm good. We need to check it because we might not be getting any audio out of it, or we might have something set wrong on the amplifier. We got sound? Yes. Center it back up. Love the center feature on the Kenwoods. Next test is polarity. We want to make sure everything's moving in the right direction. Starting with the driver's door, we're looking for 2 green flashes in a row, and we got them. Moving up to the factory tweeter, we got the 2 green flashes there. Since we're doing speakers in the rear deck, we'll test from underneath. Here we're looking for 2 red flashes, because this is the back side of the speaker. We have the 2 red flashes on this one, 2 red flashes on that one. Moving on, green, green, we got green, green. Up to the tweeter. 2 in a row. All our speakers are moving the direction we need. Next we'll go through the rest, set our gains, set our crossovers, hop in, take a listen. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Little tune time, playing with the radio. Of course, we're gonna break out the iTest mic just to get an idea what's going on. This has 4 tweeters up front, the 2 factory, the 2 bottom. That doesn't mean we don't want to play with it a little bit and make it sound the best that it can. Add a little bit of EQ curve to it. Now it's time to just listen to straight music and see what it does. The one thing that you always have to remember when coming back to a system like this that has had a previous stereo in it is go through all your bass and treble settings and make sure the crossovers are set to either off or to the new speakers. Typically when we get a car in, that's the first thing we do. Ozzy. Time to let Fernando take his turn and make sure that he likes the way everything is, and then we'll get it out of here. Hey Fernando, it's your turn.
Okay.
And like that, guys, we are done. We hope you enjoyed this little 911 rescue, whatever you guys decide to call it. If you like 911, let us know. If you think something else would be better, let us know that way too.
Yep.
It's up to you guys. It's always up to you guys. And with that, Fernando, if you please.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always. We'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye. Say bye, Mom.
Bye-bye.